This is a Tracking the Tropics update with the certified most accurate weather team at First Coast News.
To the 2025 hurricane season in the Eastern Pacific. And you know, this is Hurricane Erick, a Cat 3 now, maxed out at a Cat 4, breaking multiple records here. One being the fact that this is the earliest E-named storm on record in the Eastern Pacific. First major hurricane to make landfall in the west coast of Mexico in the month of June after it peaked here as a Category 4 storm system. This actually reminds me a lot of Beryl last year. Remember Beryl in the month of June broke all sorts of records. This one looking like that once again, except it's just a different basin, but still a hurricane having some pretty decent impacts here for our friends here in southwestern Mexico, just towards the east of Acapulco is where this came on shore. In fact, I'm going to scroll back on our satellite picture here just a little bit, and let's watch before this came on shore with that eye. Look at that pinhole eye right there around 3 a.m. That's when the pressure was estimated down to 939 millibars in this. So we're talking about, winds 140, 150 miles per hour. That is a dangerous, potent storm system. Now, here's the deal. We got some big old mountains there right along the coast that all of this moisture is slamming into. So places like San Marcos, I think that's where they're getting some of the worst of the weather. If we scroll a little bit to the left, you can see where Acapulco is, right on the outer fringes of some of these heavier rain bands. But I'm hearing from people, I got some colleagues out here who are storm chasing who are saying the wind is not that intense in some of these towns out here, albeit there's a hurricane coming on shore. We got heavy rainfall for sure, but remember there's a lot of mountains here. See all these mountains really scattered throughout this area. That does a number on the wind field. So unlike Florida, when a hurricane comes on shore, you don't have any friction, you don't really have anything stopping it, so it allows the wind to sweep across a vast area. Here in southwestern Mexico is where you really got a lot of mountains, the slams, a lot of orographic lifting. So you get that upslope, you get that lifting that causes heavy rainfall, and flash flooding is going to be a big issue with this. But the wind field, really, I'm sure it's sporadic. I'm sure in some of these valleys, you are getting some pretty decent funneling that's kicking on through. I'm also confident that we're also looking at some damaging winds and a bit of a surge right along the coast there, especially right here. I mean, you can just see a little bit of that banding in that right front quadrant wrapping around right just like that. I'm going to hit right there. So, yeah, that's where you're definitely seeing the max of the winds. And once again, this storm system, it maxed out as a Cat 4. It is rated a Cat 3 now, and I wouldn't even be surprised if it kind of backed off from there a little bit. Pressure was at 939 millibars around 3 a.m. this morning. Now up to 950. Remember, the higher the pressure, the better, because it's all about the pressure gradient. So basically, the steepness from high to low pressure, how fast that wind wants to run down it here. So the higher the pressure you got, the less steep that gradient is. So our winds are kind of backing off a little bit. Still Cat 3, still major. Northwest at 9 miles per hour. Winds are estimated right now in that center of 125 miles per hour as this comes on shore as still a major hurricane, a Category 3 storm. So, boy, beast of a storm. If you are watching on our Facebook or YouTube, by the way, I would like to hear from you. Please leave us a comment here in the comment section below. I would truly like to hear from you. Let's talk about this storm system together as we continue to track it, moving off towards the north and west. It is expected to weaken as it pushes over Acapulco, major tourist destination there. I got a lot of people. And also, it's definitely going to weaken as it gets closer to Mexico City as it moves off towards our north here. But still a lot of rain across a lot of these coastal areas here. In fact, let's take a look at our Futurecast. So we're going to just kind of time this out as this comes on shore. Now, this is Eastern time. I'm recording this out of Jacksonville, Florida here. And, we watch this move on shore, but look at the leading edge of it. Look at kind of how most of this precipitation just stays right near the coast. That is because this all just slams into the mountains. Those mountains acting like just a great barrier, a wall, squeezing out all of this moisture and causing bulk of that precip to stay north. But you see the remnant low actually tries to track across the country, and it almost starts pulling moisture out of the Gulf on the East Coast there. Could be looking at some monsoonal showers for South Texas eventually associated with this. So let's go back to the beginning here. One more time, we're going to loop through and just see how that low-level center slams on the coast there, weakens out along the southwest coastline. But we see almost a secondary low try to develop heading off towards the north, maybe into South Texas. So that would not be a hurricane, and more or less just the transport of this moisture stretching back there towards the north. But definitely the big issue is right there along the southwestern coastline, just around Acapulco. You're going to be looking at some spots 3 to 5 inches for our friends in Mexico. That would be about, I believe, 100 to 200 millimeters of total precipitation. A lot of rain. A lot enough to cause some flooding out here. So, I mean, whew. And if we pull back the picture, I mean, you could see it on the East Coast, too, some of that precip. So, kind of getting pulled in out of the Gulf. So, you get kind of a 1-2 punch from that moisture coming in from the south, slamming into the mountains, and you get the moisture from the east, kind of hitting off there in the northeastern areas of Mexico. And then we look ahead, you see how that moisture even can build in for some areas of South Texas, talking about like South Padre, Brownsville area. Could be looking at some of that decent precipitation kicking up. But boy, potent storm system. Hey, I'll get back to that in just a second. I'll take some of your questions here too. But the good news is in the Atlantic, nothing out here right now. In fact, last year at this time, we had a couple tropical waves coming off of Africa. I remember there was a moderate to high risk, and I think at that point we were starting to get into barrel territory. Remember, that was the earliest major hurricane to make landfall in the month of June on record. When that came across the Windward Islands and pushed across the Caribbean, and eventually that one went into Texas. That was a year ago. Good news, nothing out there right now. I think our main concern is, of course, still the moisture coming in with Erick here and how that interacts with that area of convection pulling in off of the Gulf. If something does spin up quickly, I'd be a little surprised, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. And then we can see we do have a couple waves out here in the eastern Atlantic around that main formation area, but are also contending with a lot of dry air. And what I mean by that is right about in here, we got just a whole plume of Saharan dust coming off the continent of Africa here. And that adds in that dry air. It just adds in stability and overall cools things down. So despite the fact, we do have a couple tropical waves, that definitely is interacting with that Saharan dust, and that limits the full potential of any tropical development out here for sure. Despite the fact that the sea surface temperatures are warm, which is why I'm still a little concerned about this area in the Western Gulf, because mid-80 temperatures out there, all across there, and into the Caribbean too. We got mid-80s, which is fuel. That we need about 80 degrees for a tropical system. 85 and above, a lot of energy. Once you get up near 90, that's when we're talking about, gasoline being thrown on the fire here. Right now, still in the Atlantic, Andrea would be our first name storm system. We don't have it just yet. But once again, the Eastern Pacific, I'm going to go back to this graphic here. The fact that we are on E already made it the earliest E-name storm in the East Pac on record. Also, we have a second hurricane, too. We already had one hurricane. First major hurricane to make landfall there in the month of June as it peaked as a Category 4. Now it's down a little bit. We're at a Cat 3, pressure 950 millibars as this comes on shore. So, boy, intense storm system. Just trying to check and see if we have any questions or anything like that. I would love to hear from some of y'all. We got about 60 people watching on Facebook. Got a good number of people here on YouTube as well. And also, don't forget, you can stream us on FCN Plus as we track these storms. Ooh.
Watching on Facebook.
Oh, boy. And that's
number of people.
the mic picking up on me saying that right now because I'm trying to read some of your comments. How about that? Anyways, all right. So Let's bounce back to our satellite picture. Let's zoom right in if you're curious of where exactly this is coming on shore. And then I'm going to rewind it just a little bit. So let's go back in the time frame here. Right there. So see that eye? Look at that. That is that exposed, and this is about when we had that pressure of 939 millibars. And we zoom right in, and I'm going to do that because I want to get an idea. So this place right here, gosh, terrible American, bad at my pronunciation of Spanish stuff. So I'm going to try Puerto Escondido. Obviously Porto, so it's right along the coast. It's a port. That spot took the brunt of this storm system. Oof. I mean, that's where you probably did see those winds 150, 160 miles per hour sustained in the middle of the night, too. This would have been about midnight to 1 o'clock here on the west coast of Mexico when that came on shore. That definitely caused damage. But then you could see the mountains, and we zoom in a little bit more. You can see where these mountains, where like these shades of red, the darker colors kind of stop. It's because you're just slamming right into the hills here. That's orographic lifting. So you get the uplift. You get that moisture squeezed out. And I mean, earlier I said 1 to 200 millimeters in total, but I'm sure at one point there, you probably were seeing about 50 millimeters an hour. Or about an inch or 2 inches an hour here once that came on shore. So, boy, a lot of heavy rainfall, which anytime we see mountains with a tropical system, we can expect. I'm sure they got some coastal surge there, albeit I think the rain's going to be one of the big issues here on the southwest coast of Mexico. And let's go ahead here. So this is from 2 a.m., and watch that right front quadrant. Still there, albeit the eye starts to fill in. And almost you can kind of see, and I'm just analyzing this here with you. So you can see where our low-level center is right there. But watch how, and follow my arrows here, watch how this almost bounces off of the mountains. It is incredible to watch hilly terrain when you track a lot of storms along the Gulf Coast in the state of Florida. Because once you get into the mountains here, watch how it's that low-level center. It might be hard to see, but you can see how it almost bounces and goes towards the west and kind of running up the coastline here, which is why it's taking it closer to Acapulco, San Marcos here. You're all going to get on that heavy rainfall because it's kind of slamming the mountains. It's trying to find a way around, but it can't. Truly, that's how these storm systems work. I've tracked a lot of them off the coast of Taiwan. They bounce around the island because it's so mountainous. And I think we're kind of seeing that here. We're seeing it just kind of bounce along the coast, and I wouldn't be surprised if it skirts the coast and heads towards the north. And the official track from the National Hurricane Center kind of does illustrate that. It shows it coming on shore, and instead of racing across the country, it kind of just is skirting and hugging the coastline with all those mountains really just squeezing out most of that moisture. But you see here in the Gulf, just towards the north, that's that other area I'm keeping an eye on. That is not directly associated with our tropical system, but it definitely is worth watching because that inflow is going to be pushing up along the east coast of Mexico, heading into South Texas. So Tampico, they're seeing the heavy rainfall right now. All of that lifting kind of towards the north here. So boy, big old potent storm system, peaked as a Cat 4, record-breaking for the month of June out here with Hurricane Erick, multiple records broken. And like I said, we got some people out here following the storm. I do know of one storm chaser, Josh Morgerman from iCyclone. I suggest checking him out. He's out there in it, and he did say that the winds, at least for the time being, not the most intense he's ever seen. He's been through like 80 of these high walls. That's no joke. He literally holds the record for it. So when he says that they're not intense, I do kind of take his word for it. But he's saying it's heavy rainfall and these mountains kind of tearing this apart along the coast. So maybe he might not be seeing these high winds, but I'm sure there are some coastal areas between the mountains, especially where you get a little funneling, that they're getting some absolutely rambunctious, damaging winds. But just in the last few frames, you can just even see that those higher cloud tops collapsing on this a little bit as it does hit those mountains, and that gets ripped to shreds as it runs off the northwestern coastline. So if you are out here along the coast of Mexico, let me know, please, in the comment section down below, or you can email us some photos. I would really appreciate it at rspeta@technet.com, or check out our First Coast News Weather Watchers Facebook page. If you have any photos of those this weather, any weather, wherever you are. But this is the Pacific. Usually we track storms out here in the Atlantic, but a little dry run for our neck of the woods following this one out here right now as it comes on shore. Once again, a record-breaking storm. Reminds me a lot of a Beryl last year, just because of the intensity, how it rapidly intensified over some very warm sea surface temperatures here, and just basically this all coming together as the earliest major hurricane making landfall in the Eastern Pacific. And I think right there we might be starting to get a little it's not the eye by any means, but I do think there's your low-level center right there. You can kind of see it on satellite. It's just skirting the coast just south and east of San Marcos and kind of skirting off there towards Acapulco. So if you're in any of these areas, you know somebody out here, make sure they're staying safe, staying weather aware, and of course we're going to continue to keep you posted here at First Coast News and at firstcoastnews.com, our Hurricane Central, newly revamped website, trying our best to keep you posted there too. I don't really got a lot of questions here at this time, so I think let me just hit refresh real quick and I'll make sure I'm not missing anybody. But if you do, I'll try to answer them maybe after the fact. But we do got a lot of people on here watching. Try my best to keep you posted here with Hurricane Erick. Whew.
Robert,
yes.
There's a question on YouTube from Regina asking, do you know at what time will Erick reach Acapulco?
Acapulco? Why am I not seeing that? Oh, there we go. Nice to watch, Leggy says. Aaron Regina says, do you know what time Erick will reach Acapulco? Aaron says, my other YouTube name, I cover storms in the Western Pacific too. Yes, that is me, Aaron. So thanks for watching all these tropical updates here. We're tracking hurricanes today here with First Coast News. So what time is going to reach Acapulco? It really depends on your question, like your definition of reach. And I say that in all seriousness because let's zoom right in. So Acapulco, right on the outer fringes of some of these main rain bands, they're starting to kick on it. Now, here's the deal. They're moving offshore, so I don't think you're going to get the high winds because the winds are coming off of the coast. Ooh, I bumped that, sorry. The winds are coming off the coast over those mountains, so you're not really going to get a ton of wind, but the rain really is going to pick up. Now, with that said, as I mentioned, this storm is quickly weakening. But it's also kind of bouncing off of the mountains here. So instead of running due inland, it's skirting the coastline. And we can see that here. Look at how the convection builds in from the south and east, stretching across the coast. Let's zoom it out and we'll take a closer look here. So let's go backwards about 5-6 hours. There's your eye right there. Look at that. See how that's just super defined. And then you got Acapulco right on the outer edges of that convection. See how that kind of hits the coast and almost bounces and turns towards the north and west. So I wouldn't be surprised. Give it about even less than that, 2-3 hours. I do believe that low-level center is going to skirt the coast, kind of bounce up, and then run right over Acapulco, which means if you are out there, you're probably going to see some tropical storm strength winds, which I've seen in the past, and it surprises people, especially if you haven't been through any major hurricanes. So you're probably going to see some solid winds. Now, I'm going to say in kilometers per hour only because we're talking Mexico here. Some solid winds, about 70, 80, maybe up to 90 kilometers per hour. Hurricane strength would be probably, I would say, even 100 kilometers per hour because hurricane strength would be about 120. We're not going to be that high, I don't think, for that area, only because this is quickly weakening. But you could be looking at some pretty decent gusts, enough to toss things around, obviously. But the good news, the winds are coming from onshore, offshore, but it is headed into your direction here. So I hope that does answer your question, Regina. I'm just reading another question. It's not going to make landfall, but it's going to be near. It currently is making landfall, Aaron. So I know it's kind of close call, but it definitely, I would say it already has. And let me double check because I think maybe while we are talking here, the NHC might actually update it and say it did officially make landfall. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's right there. I guess right now the NHC still has not said that official landfall. But let's look at the track. Now, this is from 8 a.m. Actually, that just came through. right there. Look at this. Yeah, that. I think it officially has already and I keep on saying officially because it really just depends on that low level center. As I mentioned, it's kind of bouncing off of the coast here, so it's a little bit skirting the coast, but that definitely has come on shore. Pressure at 950 millibars now compared to 939 we had a couple of hours ago, just around the 3 a.m. update. It was up to that Cat 4, and honestly, I would be surprised if this is still a Cat 3. It really is getting torn apart. Still hurricane, still serious. You see how they do expect this to just kind of bounce along the coast and the mountains there and head off towards the north and west towards Acapulco. So tropical storm strength conditions for sure there. Gust as high as hurricane possible, maybe near the coastal areas, but I think that your heavy rainfall is going to be one of the big issues for that specific spot. So Regina says thank you. Aaron says you're welcome. Thanks for chiming in here as well. I got your guys' questions there on YouTube, so thanks for watching on there. And then I'm just going to double check our Facebook feed, make sure I don't miss any questions or any comments there as well. But hey, if you're out here being impacted by this storm, let me know. Comment section down below. Oops, did I hit something?
Oh, no, yeah.
Okay, that was Malcolm's fault, our digital producer behind the scene. Malcolm, you're doing a great job. Thank you so much. Hey, so let's go back to our broader view. I'll do one more quick run through here for you, for those of you who are jumping in right now, or you might be thinking of a question. We'll keep you posted with it. All right, so does look like Erick now has made landfall as a Cat 3. That would make it the earliest major hurricane on record to make landfall on the west coast of Mexico. Yeah, that's the first major in the month of June, so logic would say it's the strong earliest major on record. Peaked as a Cat 4, and also it's the earliest fifth named storm in the East Pac. What I mean by that is we are already on the letter E. We've already gone through A, B, C, D, and now we're up to E here. We haven't had any named storms in the Atlantic yet, but we're already at our fifth named storm here in the East Pac. This storm, though, it was impressive a few hours ago. Still is impressive. It is just losing a little bit of its intensity, mainly because it's moving on shore and not just over a flat coastal terrain like you would see in the Gulf or in Florida, where the storm gets carried a bit inland because, you don't really have a lot to stop it. Here we got some big old mountains that just, this moisture cruises right up, causes uplift, causes the moisture to get squeezed out. So we're seeing a lot of heavy rainfall. I mean, that's no joke whatsoever. There's going to be flash flooding in some of these coastal communities outside of the wind damage. But we're also seeing it weaken quickly because of all that, because it's losing its energy as that low-level center comes on shore, crossing, right there. It's about where it came on shore here. So now seeing it kind of cruise along the coast, and Acapulco, you are in the mix here as well. So let's look at the broader picture one more time. I'm going to show you that Futurecast here for you, and just as this gets disrupted through this afternoon, heading into the evening, passing towards the north and west, quickly weakens out. By the time we head to our Thursday evening, this storm's going to be all but gone. But I do find it still interesting that this high-resolution model wants to pick up that convection on the east coast out of the Gulf and almost spin up a little low along the coastal plains there. And that brings moisture out there. Now, it doesn't really develop it into anything organized or anything like that, but it is interesting, that secondary just wave of moisture. So you get a lot of rainfall, obviously, coming out of it because of that. You got the East Coast with that precip button up against it, those areas in yellow indicating 5 to 6 inches. But then along the East Coast, you get that moisture inflow, so you kind of get a 1-2 punch with that flow right there. Then the moisture kind of wrapping around towards this storm system as it kind of cruises along our coastal areas. So flood threat really going to be the main issue with this, not only where it's making landfall, obviously where it is making landfall, but also stretching across out of the Gulf here. No tropical systems, though, expected in the Atlantic. I can't stress it enough if you are watching this from the East Coast of Florida or Georgia. We're not talking about a storm that's going to impact there. We're talking about the East Pac. So this is a major hurricane in the Eastern Pacific, not in the Atlantic. We don't have anything out here right now. Saharan dust, dry air. We've got a couple areas of convection, but just in general, really, there's too many things going against formation to cause anything to develop. A lot of inhibitors here. So, yeah, that's the good news. So if you're just joining now and you're looking at this going, oh my gosh, what the heck? That's what I'm talking about. Incriminated antelope. Great YouTube name, by the way. I had to read it for a second to make sure it wasn't anything vulgar. That's that. All right. Risk of supercells. Yeah. But not in the sense of Great Plains supercells. I think one of the issues with this, and you see right here on the satellite picture, look at this convection, these outer rain bands on the right front quadrant. That's where I would say you have the highest potential for tornadic type cells. And the same rules apply that we see in the Atlantic when we're talking about the dirty side of the storm. Closer to the center, I see a lot of disruption, a lot of friction and all that with the mountains. But a little bit further to the east, you have really convective bands that are coming on shore. And if you get some of those bands set away from the main convection, they kind of rotate in their own sense, especially once they first come on shore. They hit that friction. You could get rotation with some tornadic type cells east in that dirty side of the storm here. The mountains really inhibit it to track far inland, but for those coastal communities. Also, we call these little micro vortices, and I've seen them in person too. Just these little spin-ups coming in off of the water with these storms. They sometimes are called, water spouts or little land spouts and stuff, but I like to call them those little micro vortices because they're just quick, they're spinning, they're shrouded in rainfall, moving with the storm system, with the winds, which could be at 60, 70 miles per hour. So they're cruising along just like a jet here, coming on shore, and that's the type of stuff that I think causes damage in the sense of flipping cars and stuff like that. These little micro vortices, which I do see that in the right front here. So to answer your question, Mr. Antelope, yeah, there is a risk of, supercell-ish type storms with this. Obviously, a major hurricane coming on shore. There is multiple facets and risk here, not just in that low-level center, but just the broader view with those cells kicking off towards the east. I think that's where you're going to have that highest risk, though. And once again, pull back the picture. You can see what I'm talking about. These cells just right in there. Obviously, though, closer to the center, it's a bad day here, too. I mean, it may not be tornadic supercell type stuff, but it's just a full-on wind out here. But I like this, just zooming in, and I can show you this, just showing you how the mountains, and this is novel for forecasters or people that track hurricanes in the state of Florida and Georgia and along the Gulf Coast. It is novel in the sense of mountains because you don't really have them in those areas. So we're more worried about storm surge and even storms cruising in. Think of Helene last year, but in the Carolinas. Remember how that just tracked up? It hit the mountains just right there, and it caused a ridiculous amount of rainfall because the funneling of the mountains and everything. I see a similar, so when we start getting video out of this area, and I wouldn't be surprised if we start getting it pretty soon here. When we do start getting video, I think we're going to see a lot of flood video versus storm surge or wind damage and things like that. I think we're going to see a lot of flood video coming out of this. Do want to note our good friend Josh Morgan, he's out here chasing this storm. He says he's in San Jose, Estancia Grande. So it's right along the coast here where he kind of watched that storm come on shore. Small town. I think that's why it's not even popping up on here. But this same area where, obviously getting those hurricane strength conditions here. So I'm going to try to check our questions one more time. If I don't get any over a period of time here, though, I will probably call it a little quits on this stream. But if you want to see more of it, let me know. Just say hi. Say hi. I want to hear from you guys watching here on Facebook and on YouTube for those questions. Or if you're watching on FCN Plus, thank you so much for stopping by. I truly appreciate it. Always appreciate you guys watching on here. It helps make my job easier when you're asking those questions too, though. I don't really got anything too different. Aaron, Mr. Antelope, Regina on here all watching from different varieties. I got some people out who know me from my typhoon coverage on the other side of the ocean. So I cover all the basins here at First Coast News. We really focus in on our hurricanes, also track storms in the Western Pacific. I've been in cyclones in Australia. Trying to use my experience from around the world, though, to show what's going on in here. That's why I can translate those millimeters and feet and kilometers per hour so quickly for you, for our friends out here in Mexico. But yeah, you know what? Good news at this time, this is weakening. Bad news, did make landfall once again as a major hurricane, a Cat 3, as it comes on shore there. I just want to take a quick look around. Can you pop this up on the full screen? Because I'm going to just do a little research here. By research, I'm just checking a different variety of social medias. I want to see if there is any new video or reports coming out of the area. Actually, we're at Puerto Escondido, so it's right there where this did just come on shore. Seeing some video of some massive waves there. Oh, yeah, they got some, which doesn't surprise me. I mean, this was a Cat 4 raid offshore, obviously. There's going to be some massive waves. Also in Punta Maldonado in Oaxaca, you had pretty decent, actually, there was some decent storm surge right there. So I'm going to zoom right in, see if I can find this town we're talking about. Puerto... Okay, it's not going to pop up on that screen. I'm going to go back to this one. Let's zoom in on Erick here, because I am actually seeing a few reports of some. Yeah, right there. So that makes sense. Let's go back. Puerto Escondido. I hope I'm saying that right. So yeah, I'm seeing some videos, some reports out of that area of storm surge, which makes sense. I mean, if you zoom right in on it, there is a little bit of an inlet there too, which is we often worry about in this type of situation is the bays and inlets. And you got, of course, the low-lying coastal plain there, but you get these inlets, it causes a little bit of funneling. Basically, all that water tries to concentrate into one spot. So I am seeing some video of streets flooded right there along the coast because of a bit of surge. Of course, as we go ahead throughout the day, that flood threat is also going to be a major issue with this from the rainfall in the mountains rushing down towards the coast on top of the storm surge that's coming in. So, yeah, bad day. By the way, if you notice, I'm looking at satellite picture here a lot because we don't really have radar in this specific spot, in the specific area. I'm not seeing any radar images come out of there. So unfortunately, we do have to rely on satellite pictures, just kind of give you an idea of where the storm system is. Makes you really appreciate, especially in the United States, where we have radar coverage everywhere. It really does. It makes you appreciate it that much more when you have to cover storms in, other countries around the world. And just not equipped as much. We got the equipment out there, but just it's not as good coverage. The hurricane hunters aren't there. It's different variety of impacts or the information gathering, I should say. Wow. I also got another video. A lot of this is in Spanish, so my weak Spanish is going to have to watch it, but I do see some damage there in some of these coastal communities, too, where that surge was coming in. On top of the wind damage, which doesn't surprise me. I mean, this was making landfall as a Cat 4 with winds estimated about 140 to 150 kilometers per hour, which up and over 220. No, I said 140, 150 miles per hour. That's sent up and over 200 kilometers per hour. Bouncing back and forth because we got, this is Mexico, right? So America's not the only country here. I try my best to communicate to everybody and the different information and different standards. Yeah, just so I'm going to refresh our comments real quick, make sure I'm not missing anything. And I'll probably let you guys go here in just a bit because otherwise I'm just talking about the same thing over and over again. I try not to do that too much. But tracking Hurricane Erick today. Once again, if you have any other questions, you want to share them with me, shoot me a message. I'm on social media, Robert Speta Weather. Or if we get any new video, maybe we can jump back in a little bit later with some new video here on FCN Plus. So if you haven't already downloaded the First Coast News app, please do, because once we start streaming, you'll get notified and say, hey, we got a hurricane. Not just with this one, but any other tropical system out there. Always going to continue to track and keep you guys posted. I'm going to try to find some good video. I say good video as in very visual videos. Nothing's good about it. And share it with you on here too. So just stand by, check out our firstcoastnews.com, Hurricane Central, and we'll continue to keep you posted here as we track Hurricane Erick, major hurricane, earliest major hurricane on record along the west coast of Mexico, here on your Thursday morning. I'm meteorologist Robert Spett. As always, thanks for stopping by, friends.